Senators, I want to address the affordable housing money. I think the law is 30-8. In Brookfield, a 72-unit project just received from the state of Connecticut $5 million in funding. For that, the developer has to give lower rates for rent to 20% of the units. Now, 20% of 72 units leaves us about 14 units. At $5 million for 14 units, everyone in this room could go out tomorrow afternoon in this area and buy 14 or 15 houses for that money. So I'm not catching on why we're doing this. The worst part to it is because Brookfield has allowed, Brookfield's just a microcosm of the whole area, the whole entire state. Because Brookfield has designated an area called the Four Corners for incentive housing, the developers are lining up. They're ready to cash in on this. Now this to me is just, if we have no money, we have no money. But how come we have money for this? I'm not getting it. I'm not against affordable housing. Personally, if I were king, I would take $5 million. I would get people who are renting, okay, who are paying electricity, who are paying for their own heat. That's basically what you do here in Danbury. You rent a condo or a place where you do that. I would give them a $50,000, very, very low interest rate, maybe a passbook rate, like 0.5%, to buy as a down payment to buy their own unit. They could pay that back. It wouldn't cost them money because they would get money back. They would suddenly become homeowners. In Brookfield, and I don't know Danbury's numbers, but I know Brookfield's, 80% of the renters pay $1,000 or more per month. Those people can afford a house if they had a down payment. We could give them that down payment. When we give $5 million to a developer, the $5 million does not come back to us. Under what I'm saying to you, we would get the money back with maybe a drop of interest. So I'm interested in the issue. I think the $5 million is a little steep for what we're getting. Thank you.
Well, you raise a very interesting point, but you've got a lot of tentacles in the question. So the first part of it is, in Connecticut, we have an affordable housing statute that requires communities to provide a certain percentage of affordable housing in their community. And the problem with that statute is, if they don't provide that amount of affordable housing, then it can be forced upon them. So here's the point. In Brookfield, they don't have they have not met the threshold of affordable housing. So therefore, Danbury does meet the threshold of affordable housing, but Brookfield, Reading, Newtown, all the neighboring communities do not. So because they don't have enough affordable housing, a developer does qualify to force feed affordable housing into the community and override, in some cases, zoning regulations. So how a community gets around it is they sort of cut a deal and say, well, make this development of 70 houses 20% affordable, and we'll support you in a grant with the state of Connecticut to help you build it. And so that's what happened. Now, in the case of the Brookfield grant of $5 billion, that came directly from Governor Malloy's new program, pushing, incentivizing affordable housing across the state of Connecticut. I think the problem with that particular program is it is not equal. What about Newtown, Reading, all these other towns that are struggling with affordable housing, and they are not able to tap into that money? So you've talked about a whole bunch of different problems as it relates to affordable housing. We have this big hammer called 830G that says you will do this, and if you don't do it, then we're going to force feed it on you. And then you have this new program where they're throwing money at favorite projects, because it's only favorite projects that are getting the money. And so it's creating some problems in some communities. Brookfield hit the lotto on that one. That's what it boils down to. That's actually a nice project. But I would agree with you, when you look at affordable housing in today's market, right now, it is less expensive to purchase an existing home than it is to pay rent on an apartment or to rent a home. In today's market, right now, in the greater Danbury area, it's less expensive to buy than it is to rent.